So I've been in this series on the Cold War, this day in history in the Cold War, and it could expand a little bit beyond the Cold War, but basically what in the Cold War is leading or helping us understand what's happening right now. So just some interesting events. On August 20th, in 1940, Leon Trotsky, an exiled communist revolutionary, was attacked in Mexico. I believe he was attacked with an ice pick, and he would die the next day. 1945, the invasion of Manchuria. The Soviet Union captured the capital of Manchukuo, and Soviet forces had landed in Korea just the day before, or 2 days earlier. 1968 was the Prague Spring. This is where somewhere between 200,000 to 600,000 Warsaw Pact troops crossed over the border into Czechoslovakia. And then the big story was the coup on Gorbachev that happened yesterday, 19 April. This was in 1991. So the saga continues. 2 days before, they set the ball in motion. The State Committee on Emergency set the ball in motion. Then yesterday, they actually seized Gorbachev's dacha and keep him there under house arrest. Then today at 1 a.m., buses and other large vehicles. Now, Yeltsin came out against this, and he was kind of taking command of what's going on. Yeltsin was the president of Russia. Gorbachev was the president of the Soviet Union. So at 1 a.m., buses and other large vehicles are used to create barriers around Yeltsin's White House. And then Taman guards arrive in infantry fighting vehicles, and they're commanded by someone that you would recognize if you're familiar with the war in Ukraine. His name was Captain Sergei Surovikin, right? The Surovikin line in Ukraine? Yeah, that's the same guy. After about 8 a.m., the State Committee on the State Emergency tried to meet with Gorbachev, and Gorbachev refused to meet with them. Then at 10 a.m., the session of the Supreme Soviet and the Russian Soviet Federation opened in the White House, and President Yeltsin spoke. At 1 p.m., the Soviet Cabinet of Ministers claimed that they were not involved in the coup. By 2 p.m., the CPSU, the Central Committee Secretariat, issued a statement demanding that they clarify what happened to Gorbachev. By 4 p.m., the Presidium of the Supreme Soviet of the USSR, that's like the bigwigs, they declared Gorbachev's removal illegal. They demanded that Yanuyev cancel the decrees and the emergency orders. By 4:52, a group of Russian deputies from the RSFSR, that's the Russian Soviet, and soldiers arrived at Gorbachev's dacha, and at 5 p.m., the State Committee on the State Emergency delegation, they arrived. Gorbachev again refused to meet with them, and he demanded that communication be restored. Later that day, Yanuyev dissolved the State Emergency Committee decree, declared it invalid. By 8 o'clock, a criminal case was opened by the Soviet General Prosecutor's Office. Okay, that's what was going on with the coup, and Gorbachev's almost out of the woods at this point. Same day, 1991, the Estonian government declared its independence. All right, that's all that I have, my friends. Thank you for being the kind of person that cares about the world that we live in.